Sir.
Vice President Vance, if I may ask, firstly, a quick one is, did you come here because you thought Israel massively overreacted to the killing of its 2 soldiers? And secondly, following the reaction to this plan, do you now believe it is feasible to have a governance structure for Gaza that does not include strong Palestinian voices?
Well, so on the first question, no. My visit had nothing to do with events of the past 48 hours. We had actually tried to plan this visit, frankly, months ago, and now we thought this would be a good time to do it. It ended up working out. As you know, sometimes calendars are difficult, especially when you're the Vice President of the United States. But I wanted to come. I wanted to check in on things. I wanted to, talk to the troops who are working very hard to coordinate this massive relief effort. And I wanted to just see how things were going and put some eyes on it so I could call the President of the United States and actually, it's one thing to read about it. It's one thing to talk with Jared and Steve on the phone about what's going on the ground. It's another thing to actually shake somebody's hand, to look them in the eye, and to understand what are the challenges, what are the things they need from me. I mean, I heard from relatively junior troops very simple things that would make their lives easier that I'm going to take back to Washington and hopefully help them with. That's why you do a visit like this, not because of anything that's happening on the ground. On your question about what is the ultimate, authority in Gaza look like, I don't know the answer to that question. And I think what's so cool, what's so amazing about what these guys have done is that we're creating a governance structure that is very flexible to what happens on the ground in the future. We need to reconstitute Gaza. We need to reconstruct Gaza. We need to make sure that both the Palestinians living in Gaza, but also the Israelis, are able to live in some measure of security and stability. We're doing all those things simultaneously. And then I think once we've got to a point where both the Gazans and our Israeli friends can have some measure of security, then we'll worry about what the long-term governance of Gaza is. Let's focus on security, rebuilding, giving people some food and medicine. If we get to the point where we're arguing exactly what the governance structure in Gaza is long-term, then we should pat ourselves on the back. That's a very good problem to have, but I won't anticipate that problem before we actually have it. I'll take a couple more and then we'll get moving. Ma'am. You should speak up.
Renata Brito with the Associated Press. Could you give a bit more details about the International Security Force? Which countries are going to be part of this? Are these troops in Gaza? And also about the disarmament plan or decommission plan. Are there incentives for Hamas to do that in a timely fashion? Any details?
The incentives are that unless Hamas disarms in accordance with the agreement, very bad things are going to happen, right? And also the incentive is that if they disarm, there is a better future for everybody on the other side of it. But in terms of the International Security Force, Steve and Jared, Admiral Cooper, are working on that very issue right now. Remember, this peace deal was struck under the president's leadership literally a week ago. The hostages were returned, 6 days ago, 5 days ago? So we're in the phase now where we're actually starting to conceptualize what that international security force would look like. I think it's important for Americans to know a couple of things. Number one, there are not going to be American boots on the ground in Gaza. The President of the United States has made that very clear. All of our military leadership has made that very clear. What we can do is provide some useful coordination. How do you take, the Gulf Arab states, plus Israel, plus plus the Turks, plus the Indonesians, how do you actually get those folks to work together in a way that actually produces long-term peace? The only real mediators are the United States of America. And so that's the role that we're going to play. I think the American people should be proud of it, but they should know that there are going to be no American boots on the ground in Gaza. Sir, in the back.
I'd like to ask about a different threat. We see Iran rearming again, trying to build again their nuclear weapon. Could we expect in Israel to see the U.S. Army attacking again in Iran?
Could you ask the very last part?
Could we expect the U.S. Army to attack again in Iran like you did in the last time in Fordow?
Well, I'm not going to make any announcements here today. The President of the United States has been very clear about our policy with regards to Iran. It's that he actually wants Iran to be prosperous. He wants to have good relations with the Iranians, but they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And so we're going to keep on using and exhausting every diplomatic means possible to try to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. That's our focus, and that will remain our focus for the indefinite future. Let me just leave us with one final thought here. So I've been to Israel once in my entire life. I came for about 36 hours, and as a Christian, I think the world's Christians will know that this country, that this region of the world means a great deal to me. And at some point today, I hope to go, or at some point in the next couple of days, I should say, I hope to go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which Christians believe is the site that Jesus Christ was crucified in. And I know that Christians have many titles for Jesus Christ, and one of them is the Prince of Peace. And I'd ask all people of faith, in particular my fellow Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work a miracle in this region of the world. I think that we have made incredible strides over the past week. We're going to have to make a lot more, but I think with your prayers, with God's providence, and with a very good team behind me, I think we're going to get it done. Thank you all. Take care.